This is the maiden flight of the DJI Mavic Mini. Alright, so it's the day after. We're out here with Willis. We're gonna get some more test shots with it. Yesterday was kind of just a first impressions. So to talk about what I experienced, it flies great. It's definitely a huge upgrade from the Spark. It has a much longer flight time. I flew it for about 5 minutes and it only dropped 15% as opposed to the Spark. I would lost about 30 to 40% of the battery. The actual camera itself is a whole lot better. I mean, it definitely does still have where it looks too digital, but it does still look a lot better than the Spark. There's more detail, it's sharper. It shoots in a higher resolution. It can shoot in higher frame rates, and I tested all of them, and today we're going to be mainly focusing on the 2.7K 25 frames a second just to kind of see what the maximum quality out of this drone is. Other than that, for first impressions, fantastic little drone. It's definitely a great beginner drone. It is a huge upgrade over the Spark. So when I was out there filming that little sequence, Willis, there was quite a bit of wind, and the drone was able to really stabilize itself and hold its own against the wind. I was able to get really nice smooth footage, and the gimbal is a lot better, so that way I was able to combat more of the drone shaking. And to talk about the actual image that this drone produces, it definitely is a lot better than the Spark. There is more colors. So I always noticed the Spark looked a little bit flat, and I always had to add extra color to it, but the image always kind of fall apart because it's using such a light codec. But right out of camera, this drone does look a lot better. It's more saturated, there's more contrast, definitely is more dynamic range there. And overall, the footage does look a lot better. I mean, granted, there is no manual controls, which has got to be one of my biggest complaints. I can't control the shutter speed, I can't control the ISO, I can't control the aperture. It's all completely auto, which does suck. I would love to have that control over so that way I could have my shutter speed at the right place so I can get the most cinematic looking footage, because I feel like that's the only drawback of this drone, is that because you can't control your shutter speed, it'll automatically crank it up to like 1/500th of a second, then it won't have that nice natural motion blur. Then inherently your footage won't look as good, and that's just because of the shutter speed. It's something you should easily be able to control, but sadly you can't. The actual connection that it uses, the controller connects right to my phone, so that's another connection needed over the Bluetooth. The drone does connect better to the controller. It's a lot stronger, the image quality is a lot better. It can go a further distance before it starts to cut out and act all weird. So overall, it is just a newer, upgraded Spark, and it's also smaller because it can fold up, has a better camera on it, flies better, has a better connection to the controller. The controller overall I kind of like better. It feels a lot more high quality. The joysticks are removable. They kind of just took the Spark, made a new version of it, refined everything they needed to, and produced this, and that's an absolutely fantastic drone. And the frame rate options are great. You can shoot 60p and 1080p. You can shoot 30 or 25 frames a second in 1080p and 25 or 30 frames a second in 2.7K. Now there is rumors about a firmware update coming out for 24 frames a second, which would absolutely be awesome, so that way it would match great with my Canon SL2, considering I should always shoot all of these videos in 24 frames a second. But that's pretty much it from me, guys. Thank you all for watching. These are kind of my first impressions of the DJI Mavic Mini. I will be working on a more extensive review after I have some time to really fly it and really get into the menu system and really find out what this drone is capable of. But I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.